All right, before we get too deep into this episode, we have some very important business. We have been lucky enough to receive an amazing theme song from our niece Ella.
Yes.
So here you go.
I love you, Ella.
Adventure, we gotta go adventure. We gotta go adventure. In a bit of cat. And a fairy and Uncle Josh. I gotta go to the highest mountain. I gotta go everywhere. They gotta go everywhere. Uncle Josh and Aunt Nathania.
Oh boy, it's cold.
This is our first video in a 3-part series about our longest trip in the van yet.
10 whole days.
10 whole days, which probably doesn't sound like a lot to
Right.
experience.
It was our first trip that we did multiple stops. So typically we go out for a weekend and then come home. This time not only did we go to multiple places, but we had groceries along the way.
Yeah, we got groceries and gas.
And gas.
That's it.
Groceries and gas.
Groceries and gas.
That's right.
There were already some logistics to consider as far as packing more clothes and how we were going to do the food. But then about a week to 10 days ahead of time, we started getting word of an impending storm.
Arctic blast of dangerous cold air is slowly moving across the country.
There's going to be a lot of snow, extreme wind, and dangerous cold.
Fierce Arctic winter storm.
Freezing Arctic air is bringing blizzards and icy winds to much of the country as it pushes southeast.
Cold that's going to extend all the way down to the south, where highs will likely not get above freezing.
That threw a wrench into a lot of things, including packing clothes, because now we needed layers that we didn't think we would need, and we needed also water. So we had a couple other considerations. Should we leave a day late? Should we leave a day early? Should we cancel parts of the trip? But actually, our trip is planned for the coast, and at home it was going to be much colder. So it was actually a good idea to go ahead and take the van to the coast. And our first stop was Huntington Beach State Park in South Carolina. And that is where this first video is about.
Right. As we're driving down the highway, we can see like west of us is the front, and it started hailing on us.
It did start hailing us. Forgot about that.
It was sunny and beautiful. And we were thankfully going east, but we were right on that line. We got out right in the nick of time.
And because we were driving faster than the storm, we stayed ahead of it.
But
and
it was a windy drive. It was rough. Like I probably white knuckled drive most of it.
Yeah. You're not a nervous driver, but you were. It was a very strong wind gust that came through.
Yeah. Well, and it's the first time I've driven the van in any kind of significant wind, and a van catches that wind, and it gets tossed around a lot, and
it probably felt worse than it looked.
Probably felt worse.
But we could see other like trucks and things. You could see when the wind came through, so it wasn't nothing.
No. Well, and then when we got to further into South Carolina, we stopped for gas. The traffic lights, the wind had caught up with us so much that the traffic lights were just all over the place.
Right. So then we get to the campground, and thankfully they let us check in an hour and a half early.
Like an hour early.
So we chose that day not to hook up the water.
Right.
And just use the water we brought from home.
Yep.
Which was our first time not hooking up.
Yeah.
Well, no, at Arrowhead we didn't, but
That's right.
Our first time intentionally not hooking up the water.
And thankfully we brought enough water to get us through a few days.
We brought a 5 gallon, a 3 gallon, and then we had a gallon for the bathroom.
Right. And it worked really well. Like I mean, it wasn't the best case scenario.
No.
But, the 3 gallons sat on the sink, and we used it as kind of like our sink water. And we had drinking water set up for ourselves because we also brought our drinking water.
Yeah, we brought our normal drinking water, which is always a few bottles for us and a Yeti for our cat.
Yeah, a half gallon of Yeti for our cat.
Like she drinks that much.
Yeah. But it worked well. It was annoying, and that night was the most important night because that night
that was the coldest.
It got down to 15, I think, 17.
Something like that.
It got into the teens at the very least, and we were warm. We were warm.
Yeah, I think I sweated that night actually.
It was a warm night for us on the inside.
Yeah.
But thankfully we still had some daylight, so
we did.
We
bundled up.
We bundled up in the cold wind, much colder than now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we walked out to the beach.
We did.
Which was an amazing beach.
It's such a great beach, even though it was so cold. But here's the thing, because the Arctic blast was blowing in at that moment, there were no birds on the beach. They had all taken cover.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever been to the beach when there were no birds.
Well, that, and then it was also just otherworldly because the wind coming from the land, usually when you're at the beach, the wind's coming from the ocean.
Yeah, that's true.
But the wind was coming from the land, blowing the sand out towards the water. Yeah. And you're just standing in it and the sand's whipping around you.
Yeah. With a few layers on, it really wasn't so bad. And then we came back and we were in for the night. Unfortunately, it didn't warm up much the next day.
No, the next day, which was Christmas Eve. Was warmer by a degree or two.
I think so. It only got up to 32 or 33 for an hour or two.
We woke up, we kind of chilled for a while, and then,
got hungry.
We got hungry, so time to make some pancakes. And half a cup of water. Pancakes. So we finished, so we wanted to refill the waters. So we went outside. And
because we didn't want to fill our freshwater tank quite yet, because it was still going to be low 20s, I think, that night.
Right, yeah. The second day was warmer, but not quite warm enough. So
yeah, again, this is our first year. This is our first winter, so we're learning.
We filled up a 3-gallon from the 5-gallon. We did,
in our water bottles.
Refilled our water bottles, and we're set for another night.
Yeah, and we have, even though we filled the jug up with our tap water, which of course is filtered and all that, we still have our own filtration that we do in the van. We're going to talk about that in a future episode.
So I will give you the gift of wave sound.
Anyway, but it's a gorgeous beach because there's no private property development. It's all public land, and it's so beautiful and so nice. And I have read that in the summer you have to get there early or else it's all packed. You can't get in. It's very popular, but it's open to the public and it's awesome.
We have a kind of tradition of...
Yes, I brought it from growing up in my family into our relationship.
Right. And
we order pizza on Christmas Eve.
We order pizza on Christmas Eve, which, since we were going to be camping, we couldn't really order pizza. I guess we could if we tried.
We just didn't.
So I planned to cook pizza for that, and I prepared English muffin pizzas.
English muffin pizza.
In our convection oven. They're really good. They're good. We had our pizza.
It was nice and warm because after our walk and everything, and it was good.
Yeah. We're on the road for 10 days. Christmas Eve was our second day on the road. We didn't want to get gifts for each other and then have to carry them for 10 days. And
plus they would have been out.
We would be like, we don't have a lot of space.
We didn't want wrapping paper. All that.
So your idea was stockings.
Yeah. And just stockings. Which is something I think we've done in the past.
Yeah. You wanted to get stockings for the van stockings.
Yeah, I just thought, well, it's different, and it gave me just a little more Christmas spirit than usual. You just don't have it as much as when you're a kid. And I thought, oh, well, we'll be camping, so maybe, it'll be like I just picture like string lights and flamingos and whatever. So we got these Christmas stockings, and one was pineapples,
neon colors,
and the other was flamingos with like these psychedelic colors. I don't know.
So around 8 o'clock, we were like, let's hang these up. We should hang these up.
1 minute later.
And then immediately decided to open them.
Immediately. We got each other's favorite candy at the bottom of the stocking.
Yeah.
We both put we both put it at the bottom of the stocking.
We both put it at the bottom of the stocking. I love peanut M&Ms, and he loves Starburst. I think we even got each other like the same size bag, like the sharing family bag. Like, of course I'm eating it all.
And they both fit right in the toe of the stocking.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was fun.
It was really fun. I'm glad we did it the way we did it.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Some of the things we used right away, like we ate most of the candy through the rest of the trip.
So
happy Merry Christmas.
Happy Merry Christmas. It was slightly warm.
So Christmas was warmer.
It got above freezing for a while. For a good while.
A good part of the day.
And after sunset, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we finally did hook up the water.
We did. We hooked up the water. We put all of the jugs away, and we had our we had our space. Even though it was small space, we had some space.
We had a little more space.
Nothing seemed to be wrong.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And I even took a shower later that day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. It was a Christmas miracle. We had water.
It was just science.
It was just a Christmas science.
It was a Christmas slight warm up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went for a walk. There's a castle
on
the grounds, and it's like some rich people back in the day. It was their like winter house, and I think they had some gardens that are across the highway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
it was closed, so we just saw the exterior.
And it looks neat. It's like when I heard castle when we were looking up, I imagined like, a European style castle, but it was more of like a,
It almost looked.
It was more like
Mexican.
Southwestern.
Yeah, Southwestern.
Yeah.
Which is not a
bad
negative.
Thing. No,
it's just not expected in that area.
Right.
I think.
And I think it'd be cool to look around more because it has kind of a neat look to it.
It's only like $2 to go in or something. It's just obviously it wasn't open on Christmas.
Yep.
And we were leaving the next day.
Yep. And then we walked from there to the causeway.
Along the beach.
Oh right, we walked along the beach.
And to the main area where like non-campers park, and then through there, and then out. So when you come in, there's a causeway, and there's 2 ponds on either side. Lots of wildlife. It's like very marshy, and we saw a heron, a huge heron.
Some pelicans.
Well, and one particular pelican that was being dramatic.
It was a drama pelican.
I mean, this pelican was trying to mess with the heron's territory, and the heron was very upset about it.
Yep.
Then, even though it's warmer, there's about as much as you can take on a chilly day.
Right.
And we'd walked around a lot, so
we went back
and just chilled out.
And it was time for Christmas dinner. So.
Oh right.
So we got back. We relaxed for a while because we had a walk, and it was we just kind of sat around for a bit. But when it was time to make dinner, so I had planned to make our feast.
Yeah, we had a feast for Thanksgiving.
Right, we had a feast for Thanksgiving, and it's a very similar feast. So I prepared some Gardein turkey cutlets with gravy. I prepared mashed potatoes, and I prepared mac and cheese and broccoli.
Yes.
And it was dinner rolls. Dinner rolls. Which were your favorite?
Well, you like.
When I cook at home, I have multiple things to cook with. I have multiple burners. I have, I can prepare more. Well, everything had to cook in the one convection oven / microwave. So
you didn't use the induction at all.
I didn't use the induction at all for this because everything I bought was microwave or bake.
So the next day was the day after Christmas, and Huntington Beach has the nicest dump stations we've ever seen. Little palm bushes or something.
Landscaping around the dump area.
It was very clean.
I've never and I feel like we have been very spoiled with dump stations because the North Carolina parks are very nice. Like this Falls Lake Park, and when we go to Jordan Lake and all these state parks.
Compared to we stopped at a gas station once, so it was
But Huntington Beach State Park takes it to the next level. So
what can I say? I wish all dump stations were that nice. And it's really shocking because people can, and I'm not saying no one has ever been gross at that station.
Right. So then we got on the road and we started heading north. We drove through some scenic areas as we left and got on the road to Newbern.
We did, which is our next episode.
All right.
Also, hi, I'm Nat, and that's Josh.